Shalom, shalom. I want to start by giving all praises, glory, and honor to the Lord Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakadash. My name is Brother Napak from the Karen Prophets in Babylon, down here in Tampa Bay, Florida. And I'm going to give the bonus to elders and apostles of Great Millstone who teach and rule well. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect and the ones listening in. And I want to get into a quick lesson. This post right here, one of the brother, reposted my account, Bar Yahweh. From the brother Lively Stones of GMS. It says they got him, ? And then it reads on, it says, Julian Brown, the young inventor who created tech that turns plastic into gasoline, has been seen in over 2 weeks. Fans fear his groundbreaking invention made him a target. All right, so, if you don't know, this dude, he popped up and he became, very, big back in, a few months ago, I believe last year, because he was making turning plastic into gasoline. All right. Which, when you think of it, that's very beneficial when it comes to the earth. All right. When it comes to this world, because, now there's a way you can get rid of plastic and you can still be able to use it to where, you have, your car's running, you get gas for your car. All right. But, Esau, we all know Esau don't so much like certain things like this because Esau is, a destructive monster, man. Okay. So, a lot of people, they're have their suspicions, which we all think it. All right, is that they definitely got to him. All right, or did something to him. Because in this video, as you see in this picture right here, he was basically saying how he doesn't feel safe. He feel like somebody's after him, and this was, I believe, right before he went missing. But earlier, I believe I seen a post from, I believe, the Shade Room, and it was basically his mother making a tweet saying that he's okay, he's fine and everything, but everybody's like, we need to see proof. We need to see him saying that he's okay, him making a video and all these other different things. All right, but everybody knows it and everybody suspects it already. Everybody know the devil that Esau is. All right. They know what these devils do. All right. Now, they may think it's, the government, but they gotta understand who runs that government, which is Esau Edom. All right. This is his kingdom. This is his rulership. So, what I want to bring out first is Matthew chapter 24, verse 22, it says, except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. And the reason I brought this out, because, just on the whole fact that this guy made something, all right, that was beneficial, all right, and many times before, you had Jake that will create different inventions and different things, and they will go missing, or different medicines that could cure cancer and all these different things, and they will go missing. Not to talk too much into it because these devils strike you for anything now, but you have it where they will go missing. All right, and the reason why is because these devils will do away with them. Okay. So, the Lord has to come back and save us, man. All right? That's why the days are being shortened, so the Lord can save his elect for the elect's sake. Lord will I am of that number, and the brethren that sincerely preach this truth as well. All right? We continue to endure. Okay? But, the Lord has to shorten these days and quicken these days, because if not, this devil will destroy himself and everybody in this world with him. All right? You know, this devil's a destructive monster, man, a destructive demon. Okay, and ain't no way is he, in his kingdom is he going to allow our Jake to invent certain things like this. And you know, they probably already knew this. You know, Esau probably already knew about it. You know, I wouldn't put it past them. All right, but they wasn't trying to allow that invention to, you know, come to pass. All right, because when you was growing up, you always hear about how, you know, you got to recycle the plastic because, you know, the plastic, it doesn't, there's no way for it to for them to do away with it. All right, you know, or burn it up like all the other garbage or things like that. So you know, they always say to recycle the plastic, you know. But this guy, you know, this Jake found a better use for it. All right, a better way to do away with it that will still, you know, benefit the society. All right, when it comes to transportation, okay. And these devils didn't like that, man. All right, so I believe they definitely probably did something. All right, if not take his life, they had to, you know, get some straightening out on him. All right, to make sure he don't come out or continue to do what he's doing. All right, but this is Matthew chapter 5 and verse 13. I'm just, you know, grabbing precepts and breaking them down and keep going because, you know, I'm on break. I want to make sure I get every precept I got. This is Matthew chapter 5 and verse 13. Ye are the salt of the earth, but if the salt have lost its savor, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and trodden under the foot of men. All right, so we are the salt of this earth, man. All right, you know, but the salt has, you know, lost its savior. You know, it says, but if the salt has lost its savior, wherewith shall it be salted? You know, so you got Jake, all right, that invent different things, create different things, you know, peanut butter, all these different inventions and things that Jake have created that Esau, you know, would take the credit for or, you know, try to destroy. You know, Jake has done this. Jake built Esau's kingdom up. Jake built these buildings and all these different things. It was from Jake, man. All right? It was Jake, you know? And without Jake, none of this would be created. Without Jake, none of this would be functioning how it is now. Babylon wouldn't be functioning how it's functioning now. All right? You know? So we are the salt of this earth, man. The entertainment, all right? The creators, you know? All these different things Jake do, all right, that benefits, you know, Esau's kingdom, man. You know, and without Jake, this place would be, you know, saltless, flavorless, you know, black and white. There wouldn't be no color to this place. Okay. I want to also get straight down here. It says, this is Isaiah chapter 32. Slovakia. Sure. No, I'm definitely just getting verse 7. All right, I want to get this in the NLT. It says, the smooth tricks of scoundrels are evil. All right, they plot crooked schemes. All right, so the smooth tricks of scoundrels, you know, are evil. These devils are evil, man. All right, so even when Jake come up with certain things, all right, to better this place, they gotta destroy it. come up with a cure, they gotta destroy it. They gotta, you know, delete it. You know, because they're the devil, man. They're Satan. You know, you're making them lose money. Jake come up with these different things, you make them lose money. You're like, okay, nah, nigga, you tripping. All right. So, you know, they had to, like I said, I definitely believe they did something to him. All right. You know, everybody, you know, knows it, feels it, and it's evident, man. All right, we all knew it from the first time we seen the video of Jake making plastic into gasoline. You know, you had Jake making comments about, oh, you know, you should just kept this to yourself. You know what I'm saying? You should just kept it to yourself because now these devils are coming after you. All right, now they go come after you, bro. And that's what happens when Jake invent things to better out this captivity and better this place in ways that Esau loses his money. All right, and Esau don't like that, bro. And then you being a Jake in itself, you know, it makes it 10 times worse. You getting viral, you going viral for this, everybody seeing it, you know. So Esau made sure he did what he had to do to make sure Jake got missing, man. All right. It says, the smooth tricks of scoundrels are evil. They plot crooked schemes. They lie to convict the poor, even when the cause of the poor is just. All right. They lie to convict the poor. All right. You know, they lie and make false accusations against Jake. All right. Just to, you know, say that, to make him seem guilty. All right. Guilty of something that Jake has not done. You know, you see that throughout this whole kingdom. All right. Esau's whole kingdom. You know, they might, Jake, and Mattia. You know, you had it where that woman, she even said that she lied, all right, about that boy whistling at her, man. And that caused that brother's death, man. Okay? So, ultimately, man, the Lord's got to judge Jake for this, bro. Or judge Esau for this, man. You know? It says, even when the cause of the poor is just, okay? And his cause was just, bro. You know, the dude was just trying to make, you know, gasoline out of plastic. Not saying, you know, they convicted him of a crime or made him seem guilty, but just the fact that what he did was just, and these devils still done away with him. These devils still did their thing to where this Jake went missing. Nobody knows where he was. Nobody knows where he's at. You know, nobody. He hasn't spoken since that video. All right. So ultimately, man, we just gotta, you know, understand, bro. Jake gotta understand Esau, Edom is the devil. All right. And he doesn't care what, you know, about any of that. You don't think Esau already knew? All right. Esau already knew how to make plastic and to turn into gasoline. You know, but he wasn't trying to do that. You know, now you got Jake finding out, all right, and he getting mad, bro. You know, so Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I just want to get into a quick touch on that. I want to give our praises, glory, and honor to the Lord Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Kakadash. Once again, double honors to elders and apostles, a great millstone who teach and rule well. Peace and blessings to all who elect. Shalom, Akim.